Alright, so if you didn't know, there are some rumors going around regarding the Avengers or the new Avengers versus the X-Men of the new universe in Avengers DoomsDay. So we're going to get into that regarding Mystique versus Yelena. Let's get right into the video. So, James Mangold essentially said that right now they were filming Mystique versus Yelena, which we heard this from a bunch of people, but he ended up reporting it most recently, so I'm bringing up his name. And another account, which I've never heard of before, but as you guys can see right here, Nacio Marvel, I had to obviously translate it using Grok, or whatever you want to call it on X. Someone said they wanted the scene like this, and this is regarding Yelena versus Mystique. Yelena would let a photo fall during the fight. Mystique would see the photo and would actually transform into Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, her sister. Mystique messes with Yelena's emotions since her sister is dead. Now the thing is this, the translation is terrible because Yelena's the younger sister, and you know, she wouldn't know who is in the photo, but obviously putting two and two together, the photo falls, the person's important, resembling that person, would assume to mess with them. This would be an absolute cinema and absolute depression is what this person has said. Once again, this is translated from another language, so just bear with me on that one. Next up, James would go on to say, it's not only going to destabilize Yelena, but also everyone who knew Natasha. Bruce, Sam, Scott, Shiri, and Carol. Now hear me out. Scott didn't know Natasha. Not really. He just met her in when they were in Endgame, when they were going into the portals. That was it. There was nothing there. Shiri, once again, didn't really matter. I mean, Shiri met her a couple times, but once again, they weren't close. And Carol, once again, Carol met her in Endgame. So, no, I don't think it really would mess those characters. I think it's more of like Bruce, you know, maybe Jennifer Walters, who'd be shocked because she heard all about her and knew, you know, all about her. Possibly the other characters, like smaller characters, maybe Alexei, maybe Bucky, because those characters are also in those scenes. So those are the people that I would think that it would affect. And last but not least, James followed up with, remember that Chris Claremont said an important character from Earth 616 dies in the clash between the Avengers versus the X-Men versus Doom and the Sentinels at the X Mansion. There will be Sam, Bruce, Shiri, M'Baku, Namor, Yelena, Scott Lang, Shang-Chi, Thor, Bucky, Sentry, and Carol. Any bets? But you got to remember also that Chris Claremont also said Wolverine was killing somebody important. So we have to break them down. M'Baku would have no emphasis. Namor would have no emphasis. Yelena we saw in the concept art for Secret Wars, so it's not going to be her. Thor, we know, is going to live and is going to re-meet with Loki and possibly is going to die later. I'm assuming Doom is going to kill Thor. Sentry is not going to die. Sentry is not going to die to Wolverine. Let's be so real right now. Carol's not going to die. Nobody would care. Shang-Chi's a newcomer. Once again, nobody's going to care. Sam, nobody's going to care. He's just not a popular character. I was going to say good, but he's just not a popular character. Now, with Bruce, once again, Hulk is in that Secret Wars thing. I mean, I don't even think it's going to be Shiri. I think it's going to be Yelena. And yes, I understand she's in the concept art, but once again, she could die, and then once they get to Secret Wars, they could bring her back. I think Yelena would be the only realistic one. Maybe it would trigger Bob, and Bob would go crazy, and Doom would then realize Sentry's powers and take Sentry using the power of the Sentinels, maybe. Something along those lines. But, I mean, if we're not saying that, then, I mean, it's a hard decision because none of those characters really pull any crowd, like, shock value. You know, it'd have to be somebody else. Like, it would have to be Bucky, or it'd have to be Alexei, or it'd have to be like character along those lines. You're not just going to use any of these ones. None of these have that big of a pull, especially not Ant-Man. Like Ant-Man, what is Cassie going to be there? Because if she's not, then it's not going to matter. Ant-Man, once again, was very minimal in Endgame. He just met the Avengers, and then he went off by himself again. So it's like these things that it's just not really that big. But when it comes to Yelena versus Mystique, Mystique is going to body Yelena. I don't even think she would need the photo, honestly. And say Yelena was teaming up with somebody else, Mystique would still once again win. Mystique is a monster. But yeah, I could totally see Mystique transforming into a bunch of different characters and totally messing with their minds. Dude, she could infiltrate the Avengers by herself and just keep going and swapping through all these people. But, you know, seeing Yelena fighting Mystique and then having Natasha come back in that way, would be heartbreaking. Honestly, it would be a theater quiet moment, because, you know, she'd probably try to tell her like all the things that she wanted to and blah 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 blah. But then we also heard that Paul from Heavy Spoilers also said that Natasha was going to come back in an evil variant. So that one, I think we would kind of come to a conclusion, and then maybe Mystique would die, and we'd be like, whoa, that's the actual Natasha that we would find out would be a variant, and that Doom was using to help, you know, mess up the Avengers. But what do you guys think? Sounds pretty crazy, huh? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and make sure you follow me. Doing this full time now, so trying to grow a big army and audience. I am responding constantly on the app, also on TikTok, and also on Twitter. We are just going over news constantly. I am going to be live every morning from now on, kind of like how Josh, my boy at Den of Nerds, does. But yeah, I'm looking for suggestions on time, what you guys would think would be the best for live streaming. As always, let me know what you guys thought, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.